between Israel and Iran is fraught with tension and mistrust. Before the Islamic Revolution in 1979, the two nations maintained relatively cordial relations. However, the revolution marked a turning point. Ayatollah Khomeini's rise to power ushered in an era of animosity towards Israel. Khomeini's ideology viewed Israel as an illegitimate entity occupying Muslim land. This stance fueled anti-Israel sentiment within Iran and across the region. The subsequent Iran-Iraq war further exacerbated tensions. Israel, fearing the consequences of a victorious Iran, provided some covert support to Iraq. Despite these historical tensions, the relationship was not devoid of cooperation. Both nations shared common enemies, such as Saddam Hussein's Iraq. The specter of Iran's nuclear ambitions has come to define the relationship in recent decades. Israel views Iran's nuclear ambitions as an existential threat, a matter of national survival. This perception is deeply rooted in Iran's consistent rhetoric denying Israel's right to exist. Iranian leaders have repeatedly called for Israel's destruction, using inflammatory language that has alarmed the Israeli public. Furthermore, Israel is acutely aware of its vulnerability as a small nation in a volatile region. A nuclear-armed Iran, in Israel's view, would significantly alter the regional balance of power, emboldening its enemies and increasing the risk of a catastrophic conflict. The memory of the Holocaust, a defining event in Jewish history, also shapes Israel's perception of the Iranian threat. The prospect of a regime openly hostile to Israel possessing nuclear weapons evokes chilling parallels to the horrors of the past. Israel's concerns are not limited to Iran's direct nuclear capabilities. The potential for Iran to transfer nuclear technology to terrorist organizations like Hezbollah is a grave concern. The international community has long grappled with the challenges of preventing nuclear proliferation. The Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, or NPT, which came into force in 1970, has been a cornerstone of these efforts. Iran is a signatory to the NPT, but its nuclear program has been a source of ongoing controversy. The International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, the UN's nuclear watchdog, has raised concerns about the possible military dimensions of Iran's nuclear activities. In 2015, after years of negotiations, Iran and 6 world powers reached a landmark agreement known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA. The JCPOA placed strict limits on Iran's nuclear program in exchange for the lifting of sanctions. However, the deal has been met with skepticism and opposition, particularly from Israel. Israel views Iran's nuclear program as an existential threat. The nation has a history of covert operations to hinder Iran's nuclear progress. These include sabotage, assassinations, and cyber attacks. The Stuxnet worm, developed with the US, targeted Iran's Natanz facility. Discovered in 2010, it damaged centrifuges used for uranium enrichment. Israel is also linked to the assassinations of Iranian nuclear scientists. These actions have created fear and disrupted Iran's nuclear program. In recent years, Israel has intensified its warnings to Iran, signaling its readiness to take military action to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. These warnings, often delivered through public statements by high-ranking officials and military exercises simulating strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, are intended to deter Iran and rally international support for a more assertive approach. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been particularly vocal in his condemnation of Iran's nuclear ambitions, repeatedly drawing parallels between Iran and Nazi Germany. He has argued that a nuclear-armed Iran would pose an unacceptable threat not only to Israel but to the entire world. Israel has also stepped up its diplomatic efforts, engaging with world leaders to highlight the Iranian threat and urge them to take a tougher stance against Tehran. The recent escalation of tensions in the Persian Gulf has further heightened fears of a wider conflict. Israel has warned that it will not hesitate to act if its security is threatened. The international community grapples with a nuclear-armed Iran. There's consensus on preventing Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons, but differing views on how. The US, under Trump, withdrew from the JCPOA in 2018 and reimposed sanctions. Trump argued the JCPOA was flawed. Other signatories, including Europe, Russia, and China, remain committed. Biden's administration is willing to rejoin if Iran complies. Negotiations are stalled and a breakthrough is uncertain. Russia and China oppose military force and call for diplomacy. They criticize US sanctions as counterproductive. A nuclear-armed Iran presents a complex challenge. The nuclear standoff between Israel and the nuclear arms race in the Middle East, a region already riven by conflict and instability, is a deeply concerning scenario. A nuclear-armed Iran could embolden other countries in the region to pursue their own nuclear ambitions, leading to a dangerous proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. This would significantly increase the risk of a nuclear conflict, either intentional or accidental, with potentially catastrophic consequences. Furthermore, the standoff could exacerbate existing tensions in the region, leading to proxy wars and increased support for terrorist organizations. Iran, feeling less constrained by international norms, might be more likely to engage in destabilizing activities such as supporting militant groups or disrupting shipping lanes. The global economy would also feel the impact of a heightened nuclear standoff. Oil prices, already volatile, could spike, leading to economic uncertainty and hardship. International trade routes could be disrupted and investment in the region could dry up. Tensions between While the geopolitical implications of the Israel-Iran nuclear standoff dominate headlines, it is crucial to remember the human cost of this ongoing tension. Ordinary people, Israelis, Iranians, and others in the region, bear the brunt of this conflict. In Israel, the constant threat of war casts a long shadow over everyday life. The fear of a nuclear attack weighs heavily on many minds. The economic burden of maintaining a strong military impacts the quality of life. In Iran, international sanctions have crippled the economy. Ordinary Iranians face soaring inflation and shortages of basic goods. Access to essential medicines and healthcare has been severely hampered. Regional instability fueled by this standoff has devastating consequences for millions more. Despite the deep-seated animosity and mistrust that characterize the relationship between Israel and Iran, the pursuit of peaceful resolutions must remain a priority. Dialogue, however challenging, offers the only areas of cooperation. The future of the Israel-Iran nuclear standoff remains uncertain. The path ahead is fraught with challenges, but the pursuit of peace and stability must remain the ultimate.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing content and updates.